I don't know anything about women, and I know Nick doesn't know anything about women. So, you know, we felt like we didn't have anything to offer, and we needed somebody who was going to tell us.
At 43, Ryan Gosling remains one of Hollywood's most enigmatic figures, a performer whose quiet intensity and methodical approach to craft have elevated him from teen heartthrob to serious dramatic powerhouse. With his piercing blue eyes and understated charisma, Gosling has carved out a reputation as cinema's most selective leading man, choosing roles that challenge both himself and audiences in equal measure. But beneath that carefully controlled exterior lies a perfectionist whose uncompromising artistic vision has occasionally created friction on film sets. Unlike actors who charm their way through productions, Gosling approaches each role like a psychological expedition, diving so deep into character that collaboration sometimes becomes confrontation. His commitment to authenticity is legendary among directors and crew members, but that same dedication has put him at odds with fellow performers who work differently. These weren't simple personality clashes or fleeting disagreements. They were fundamental battles over the very nature of performance itself, conflicts that revealed the complex dynamics between actors who refused to compromise their vision. From romantic comedies to intense dramas, Gosling's journey through Hollywood has been marked by 6 particularly difficult professional relationships. These clashes, documented through industry insider accounts and behind-the-scenes testimonies, show us a side of Ryan Gosling the public rarely sees. The conflicts that shaped his career and revealed the true cost of pursuing perfection in a collaborative art form. 6. Rachel McAdams. The most shocking revelation about The Notebook isn't the heartbreaking love story audiences fell in love with. It's the real hatred that existed between Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams during filming.
Yeah. So how do you get to know one another?
Well, you just, you have love scenes in your private time. That's not true.
What looked like perfect chemistry on screen was actually born from genuine animosity behind the cameras. From day one, Gosling and McAdams clashed over everything. Their acting styles couldn't have been more different. Rachel approached scenes with spontaneous energy, while Ryan demanded multiple rehearsals and precise preparation. The tension became so unbearable that Gosling actually asked director Nick Cassavetes to replace McAdams entirely.
So it's not gonna be easy, it's gonna be really hard. And we're gonna have to work at this every day, but I wanna do that because I want you. I want all of you, forever, you and me, every day.
Cassavetes later revealed the shocking moment when Gosling pulled him aside during filming. "I can't work with this woman," Gosling reportedly said. "She's impossible to connect with." The director was stunned. Here were 2 of Hollywood's rising stars, supposed to be playing soulmates, and they couldn't stand being in the same room together. Crew members witnessed constant bickering between takes. McAdams would suggest changes to dialogue, and Gosling would shut her down immediately. She found his intensity suffocating, while he saw her flexibility as unprofessional. Their fights became so heated that other actors on set started taking sides. The irony wasn't lost on anyone involved. Their real-life friction created the passionate tension that made their on-screen romance so believable. Audiences were watching genuine emotion, just not the kind they imagined. Years later, both actors admitted the experience was brutal. McAdams called it the hardest film she'd ever made, while Gosling simply said working with her taught him what he never wanted to experience again. 5. Emma Stone. When Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone reunited for La La Land, everyone expected magic. They had worked together before and seemed like the perfect pair for a romantic musical.
First time you met for Crazy Stupid Love, did you have any idea it would blossom into this 3-picture partnership?
No. Yes. We knew right away. 3 pictures. It's a 3-picture deal.
But behind the colorful sets and beautiful songs, a different story was unfolding. Gosling's vision for the film clashed dramatically with Stone's approach to her character. The problem started during rehearsals for the famous opening number. Gosling had spent months learning piano and wanted every musical moment to feel authentic and grounded. Stone, however, brought a more theatrical energy that Gosling felt was too big for the intimate story they were telling. He would stop mid-scene and ask her to tone it down, which frustrated Stone immensely. Director Damien Chazelle found himself constantly mediating between them. Ryan wanted everything to feel real and lived in, Chazelle revealed in a later interview. Emma was bringing this Broadway-style performance that was beautiful, but completely different from what Ryan was doing. The tension reached its peak during the famous Griffith Observatory scene. Stone later admitted that Gosling made her feel like she was doing everything wrong. "He would give me these looks during takes that made me question every choice I was making," she said. Gosling, meanwhile, felt Stone wasn't taking the musical elements seriously enough. He had practiced piano for hours every day, while she seemed to rely purely on natural talent. Their creative differences nearly derailed production multiple times. Only Chazelle's intervention kept them working together, though both actors admitted the experience left lasting scars on their professional relationship. 4. Anthony Hopkins. Working alongside Anthony Hopkins should have been a dream come true for any actor. The legendary performer had decades of experience and countless awards to his name. But for Ryan Gosling, during the filming of Fracture, Hopkins represented everything he disliked about traditional Hollywood acting approaches. The clash began immediately during their first scene together. Hopkins came from the old school of acting, where you learned your lines, hit your marks, and delivered your performance with precision. Gosling's method approach involved constant character exploration and emotional preparation that Hopkins found unnecessarily complicated and time-consuming. Director Gregory Hoblit watched the tension build day after day. Anthony would arrive on set ready to work immediately, Hoblit explained. Ryan needed time to get into character, to find the emotional truth of each moment. Anthony saw this as unprofessional and wasteful. The generational divide became impossible to ignore. Hopkins made several cutting remarks about modern actors who overthink everything. Gosling felt dismissed and disrespected by someone he had admired his entire career. During one particularly intense courtroom scene, Hopkins actually stopped mid-take to criticize Gosling's preparation methods in front of the entire crew. The breaking point came when Hopkins suggested that Gosling was being self-indulgent with his process. "Just say the bloody lines," Hopkins reportedly told him. For Gosling, who had built his career on emotional authenticity, it felt like a personal attack on everything he believed about acting. Despite their professional friction, both actors delivered powerful performances. But Gosling later admitted that working with Hopkins taught him that meeting your heroes doesn't always end the way you hope. 3. Christian Bale. When two of Hollywood's most intense method actors end up in the same film, conflict is almost inevitable. During the filming of The Big Short, Ryan Gosling and Christian Bale's competing approaches to character preparation created an atmosphere of subtle warfare that affected the entire production. Both actors were known for their obsessive research and complete character immersion, but their methods couldn't have been more different. Bale isolated himself, studying financial documents for hours and staying in character between takes. Gosling preferred collaborative preparation, discussing scenes with the director and other actors to build authentic relationships. Director Adam McKay found himself managing two perfectionists who refused to compromise their individual processes. Christian didn't want anyone breaking his concentration, McKay revealed. Ryan needed to connect with his scene partners to make his performance work. They were oil and water. The tension became obvious during ensemble scenes. Bale would remain silent and focused, while Gosling tried to engage with the cast between takes. Bale saw this as unprofessional distraction. Gosling viewed Bale's isolation as selfish and anti-collaborative. Neither actor was willing to adjust their approach. Crew members noticed the subtle competition between them. Both actors would arrive earlier each day. Both would stay later to work on their characters. It became a silent battle of who was more dedicated to their craft. Other cast members started avoiding scenes with both of them together because the tension was so uncomfortable. The conflict reached its peak when Gosling suggested a slight dialogue change that would affect Bale's character. Bale's response was immediate and harsh. He told Gosling to focus on his own performance and stop interfering with others. The comment stung deeply, especially coming from an actor Gosling respected. 2. Russell Crowe. The buddy cop comedy, The Nice Guys, should have been a fun, light-hearted project for everyone involved. But the pairing of Ryan Gosling with Russell Crowe created unexpected problems that made filming feel more like a battle than entertainment. Their completely different approaches to comedy and character development turned what should have been an easy collaboration into a constant struggle. Crowe came to the project with his serious dramatic background, treating even the comedic moments with intense preparation and weight. Gosling, however, wanted to explore the natural humor that came from his character's incompetence and awkwardness. Crowe found Gosling's improvisational style unprofessional and distracting from the carefully crafted script. Director Shane Black watched helplessly as the two actors pulled the film in opposite directions. Russell wanted to ground everything in reality, Black explained later. Ryan was finding comedy in the absurdity of the situations. They were making two completely different movies. The tension affected every scene they shared. The breaking point came during a car chase sequence where Gosling kept adding physical comedy elements that Crowe felt undermined the scene's urgency. Crowe finally exploded, telling Gosling that he was ruining the integrity of the story with his clownish behavior. The accusation hit hard because Gosling had been trying to bring levity to what he saw as an overly serious approach. Crowe's traditional movie star mentality clashed with Gosling's willingness to look foolish for the sake of comedy. Their age difference and different career paths created a generational divide that neither actor could bridge. Both admitted later that they never found a comfortable working rhythm together. 1. Brad Pitt. Sometimes the most revealing conflicts happen before cameras even start rolling. Ryan Gosling's planned collaboration with Brad Pitt for an unnamed thriller project fell apart during pre-production meetings, creating one of Hollywood's most talked about non-partnerships. The failure revealed fundamental differences in how two of cinema's biggest stars approach their craft. The project promised to be a major studio release with both actors playing complex characters in a psychological thriller. But during script development meetings, their visions for the film couldn't have been more different. Pitt wanted a straightforward narrative with clear character motivations, while Gosling pushed for more ambiguous, emotionally complex storytelling. Producers who witnessed their meetings described the atmosphere as increasingly tense. Brad approached it like a business decision, one insider revealed. Ryan treated every script discussion like a graduate-level film class. They weren't even speaking the same language. Their different attitudes toward commercial success versus artistic integrity became impossible to reconcile. The final straw came when Gosling suggested major changes to the script that would have altered Pitt's character completely. Pitt felt Gosling was trying to diminish his role to make his own character more interesting. The accusation created an irreparable rift between them before filming ever began. Industry insiders reported that both actors' representatives tried to salvage the project, but the personal animosity had grown too strong. Pitt eventually walked away, telling the producers he couldn't work with someone who didn't respect collaborative decision-making. Gosling responded by saying he wouldn't compromise his artistic vision for anyone, regardless of their star power. The failed collaboration became legendary in Hollywood circles, representing the clash between old-school movie stardom and new-generation artistic perfectionism. These conflicts reveal the price of perfectionism in a collaborative industry. Ryan Gosling's uncompromising dedication to his craft has created unforgettable performances, but also left a trail of burned bridges. His story proves that sometimes the greatest artists are also the most difficult to work alongside. Subscribe for more Hollywood secrets.